Video games love to make you heal in the weirdest ways. In real life, kicking that nasty cold involves nothing more than a lovely lie down and a hot drink, while cuts and scrapes can be mended with a quick cuddle and a plaster. Not that the following characters would ever medicate in such mundane fashion. Whether they're eating rat kebabs to restore HP, or drinking irradiated toilet water to cure what ails them, these thoroughly strange self-healers use health items so brazenly bizarre and downright dangerous, the cure is often worse than digital death. Here are 9 healing items you should never use in real life. Leon S. Kennedy must have a cast iron colon because the food he shoves down his throat in Resident Evil 4 is almost certainly contaminated with zombie cooties. Forget being decapitated by a chainsaw-wielding doctor with questionable medical credentials. Leon should be more worried about that thoroughly suspect egg he just cut out from the belly of an extra bitey snake. When he's not replenishing his HP with eggs stolen from venomous serpents, you can often find Mr. Kennedy topping up his health by chowing down on Resi 4's plentiful supply of black bass. Sure, that filthy looking water they're swimming around in is most likely infested with Ganados germs, but hey, how many games let you snipe fish with a high-powered rifle? Of course, Leon can't be too choosy about the health items he uses. After all, you never know when he's suddenly going to have his chest cavity caved in by a ghoulish cult leader rocking gaming's most sinister trenchcoat. If you're feeling peaky in real life though, it's probably best not to emulate Kennedy's disgusting diet. Heed our advice. If you're ever stranded in a remote Spanish community crawling with zombified cultists, maybe try and find a local bistro rather than stuffing your face with undead python eggs. Oh, and try not to disturb Resi 4's bass-filled lakes. Your health may be low, but we hear those fishes have powerful friends. Told you. Max Payne's GP must hate the bullet-dodging old soak. The disgraced former cop has got to be the world's most disobedient death-courting patient. Just look at what he does to his tattered immune system in Max Payne 3. When his bloated and beat-up carcass isn't being shot to pieces, Max is putting his intestines and liver through the grinder with a steady diet of pills and bourbon. If I tried Payne's brand of self-medication, I'd end up in a drug-induced coma, not an epic bullet-time firefight. Max's pill fixation may help ease his insomnia and make all those exit wounds a little less agonizing, but we doubt a real physician would recommend downing a bottle of painkillers while you had several litres of Kong whiskey swirling around your gut. Not again, at least. Yet even though Max Payne's style of healthcare may be fatally reckless, you can't deny how majestic he looks while driving through the air, popping pills in glorious slow-mo. You know what you shouldn't do after being nibbled on by a tiger, mauled by a bear, or chewed out by Jaws' seriously cranky cousin? Inject your bleeding hide with syringes made up of random chemical concoctions you've thrown together. That's what. Contrary to what his decadent dude bro lifestyle would suggest, Far Cry 3's Jason Brody clearly fancies himself quite the expert healer. Despite having precisely zero medical experience and being stranded on an island filled with homicidal animals, J-Bro constantly heals himself by shooting up homemade serums. Once he's assembled an assortment of rook island plants, a touch of torch ginger here and smattering of obscenely named screw pine there, Jason is ready to craft his miracle syringes. And hey, who are we to question his inject first, slip into an incurable coma later methods? After all, those herb-based potions are clearly working for him, instantly curing everything from point-blank machine gun fire to a steak knife-shaped shark tooth through the hands. Still, the next time you end up on a tropical archipelago brimming with brassed-off pirates, we'd suggest staying away from any homebrew-loving frat boys and their miraculous healing elixirs, no matter how much those boo-boos are bothering you. TT Fusion's small army of licensed LEGO games may be absurdly adorable, but that doesn't mean they don't put their block-based heroes in peril, braving incessant orc attacks, bare-knuckle boxing very literal abominations, trying not to become a T-Rex's late-night snack. Alright, LEGO Jurassic Park's lawyer totally had it coming. With so much danger to endure, our cuddly brick chums need a form of sustenance, and what better health replenishing item to greedily gobble down than, little LEGO hearts? The LEGO game's plentiful bounty of plastic organs are just what the doctor ordered, should you find your blocky hero's health failing. Just a bite or two of these blood-pumping pick-me-ups is enough to resist Sauron's evil glare in LEGO Lord of the Rings, stop gangs of goopy sand monsters in LEGO Marvel superheroes, or shake off a vicious velociraptor mauling in LEGO Jurassic World. Don't believe us? Just look at what a constant diet of healing toy hearts has done for little LEGO John Hammond. We've never seen the Brachiosaurus billionaire look so delightfully jaunty. Of course, if you're feeling ill in real life, swinging by A&E is probably a better idea than ingesting random internal organs you find lying around on the ground, whether they're made of cutesy Danish blocks or not. Before we mock his medicating ways, it's fair to say Mad Max consumes some of the more sensible healing items on the list. The world's angriest Australian motorist can heal those brutal bouts of heatstroke or barbaric beatings by sociopathic wastelanders with a quick glug of H2O. Regularly filling Max's water canteen, then knocking back hearty mouthfuls of the wonderful wet stuff will sort out most of the Road Warrior's owies in no time. Though admittedly no amount of wasteland water can fix a nasty dose of "your car bonnet's on fire." Trouble is, you're more likely to find the speed freak hero obeying the highway code than you are water in Mad Max's dreadfully dry open-world desert. That means when his HP starts to dip, the carjacking badass can't be picky about his healing items. Nevertheless, we'd rather be yanked out of a moving car by a massive pointy harpoon than take Mr. Rokotansky's stomach-churning medicine. Not only does he happily dine on cans of dog food to keep the virtual Reaper at bay, the mightily miffed one will even nibble on handfuls of maggots to keep his health topped up. Maggots plucked from rotting human corpses. This whole barely keeping a video game character alive business really is super unpleasant, isn't it? Despite being a vermin-infested burg of sleaze, Dishonored's Dunwall has an embarrassment of revitalising culinary riches for that special skull-masked assassin in your life to dine upon. Apricot tartlet, Pratchett jellied eels, tins of brined hagfish just like Mum used to make. And let's not forget all those nourishing cans of potted whale meat. Look, we didn't say keeping Corvo alive was going to be WWF friendly. Naturally, Mr. Atano doesn't always enjoy the luxury of replenishing his health with such delights, and when needs must, the teleporting assassin isn't above devouring a barbecued rat skewer. Don't make that face. Or tiny dissected corpses when rat skewers are in short supply may not be glamorous, but the sword-swinging, x-ray-eyed hitman has to keep his strength up somehow. After all, you can't expect Atano to conjure up those ultra-handy corpse-nibbling plagues of rats with a depleted health bar, can you now? Just to be safe though, we'd probably stick with paracetamol over a freshly fried rat kebab should you find yourself under the weather. Why top up Nico's health bar using a boring old first aid kit when you could heal the Serbian soldier with a nourishing dose of top-class video game poultry? GTA 4's chain of Cluckenbell restaurants will happily service Mr. Bellic's bulk and appetite day or night. Have you just watched 90% of Nico's health sadly evaporate after inadvertently sending him careening through a windshield? Fret not. Liberty City's finest fast food emporium specialises in deep-fried chicken-flavoured slabs of salt and fat that will cure those aches and pains right up. For only $1, you can instantly restore Nico's health with a tasty as it sounds fowl burger. Or if you've really got a hole burning your pocket, treat yourself to Cluckenbell's famous Farmer's Surprise, the life-preserving snack that encourages chicken connoisseurs to guess the body part. Don't you feel better already? Poultry not your thing? No problem, just drive Nico to a burger shot and you can soon rebuild that life bar with a revitalising £6 Heartstopper meal. Admittedly, a doctor likely wouldn't prescribe fast food to cure that bout of flu, but when your nearest hospital is as gun-happy as the walls of Liberty City, you're probably safer with a sly Cluckenbell than a checkup at the local clinic. There are two main ways you can heal your heroic Dragonborn in Bethesda's epic open-world RPG. Either you choose the boring option, say knocking back a potion of minor healing, or letting this sinister chap cook you up the worst-looking chili con carne of all time. Or you decide to be bold and seek out an exotic remedy truly worthy of your legendary hero. If you want to boost your warrior's max HP, you'll need to brew a Fortify Health Elixir. Unfortunately, concocting such a potion isn't simply a case of popping down to a Skyrim pharmacist. Instead, you must acquire the sort of preposterous ingredients any self-respecting witch would love to have in their Eye of Newt broth. Bear claws, boar tusks, glowing mushrooms, hanging moss, The items your Dragonborn has to forage to make this healing stew are a pain in the enchanted keyset to collect. Yet undoubtedly the toughest component to source is a dreaded giant's toe. Occasionally you might be lucky enough to stumble upon one of these gangrenous looking appendages while looting a random house. Most of the time though, you'll have to physically take the toe from the giant himself, which, as you can see, is a massive pain in the BFG behind. If you can ignore being belted 300 feet into the air by their owners' Goliath clubs, giant's toes are quite the health rebuilding delicacy. But in real life, we'd stay well clear of trying to cut bits off lanky mountain men and plump for a dodgy looking fantasy chili instead. Ever wondered how Geralt of Rivia manages to maintain such a thick and lustrous beard? Or how that magnificent mane of his is always so wonderfully full-bodied? Perhaps The Witcher 3's mulleted bounty hunter was a heroic hairstylist in a previous career.
Greetings.
Either that, or the Big G owes his fabulous follicles to all those swallow potions he keeps forcing down his neck. Despite this enchanted remedy sharing its name with a delicate little bird, the ingredients that go into this liquor are bloody disgusting. Namely, dwarven spirit, don't ask Geralt or his now missing tiny friend how he obtained it, and drowner brains. That's right, Geralt routinely heals himself with something that's made from the cerebrum of filthy aquaman, and not the dreamy Jason Momoa kind either. Thankfully, you don't have to worry about drinking this sort of vomit-courting stimulant in real life. Although that's only because the drowners would rip you limb from squishy limb with their horrendous flipper hands long before you could harvest the insides of their skulls. Not that a normal human's immune system could ever cope with swallow, you understand. Don't forget, Geralt has the constitution of a magical cat person. Whereas the restorative potion lets the Witcher hang in there in the fight against ghastly ghouls called Jenny, the merest mouthful of swallow would down Joe Bloggs quicker than he could say, "Dear Lord, doesn't Geralt's barnet look bewitching fluttering in the breeze?" Mercifully, curing ailments in real life is usually less disgusting than in games. Next time you're feeling ill, just be thankful you can take a few aspirin, rather than being forced to munch maggots or scoff roasted rat. Let us know in the comments if you can think of any other hideous gaming healing items. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to Logitech G for more weekly shows. Thanks for watching.